主是证明开始我们早上的这个查经。
The name Lord Jesus Christ to begin this morning's Bible study.
我们起来唱诗241首。
Let us all sing hymn 241. Seated.
圣洁是证明我们开始我们早上的查经。
In the name Lord Jesus Christ, we begin this morning's Bible study.
我们今天早上来继续查考这个耶利米书，我们来查考这个32章。
This morning we'll continue to study Jeremiah chapter 32.
32章这里讲到几件事情。
Chapter 32 discusses a few things.
一开始是提到说这个耶利米他被困在这个就是说这个军队的就是被困着了在这个王宫里面。
It first talks about how Prophet Jeremiah was in prison in the court.
他被这个就是说被困了，或者是说被下到这里，是因为他说这个预言。
And he was in prison there because of a prophecy.
因为预言说到这个耶路撒冷将会被就是说会沦陷，或者会说会亡国。
And because he prophesied that the kingdom of Judah will be besieged by Babylon.
那之后呢，我们就发觉到说耶利米的这个堂兄弟来到他这里说要卖一块地给他。
And then it continues and says how the cousin of Jeremiah wanted to sell him land.
所以要耶利米来去买这地。
And he wanted Jeremiah to buy this land.
那之后呢，我们就再看下去，我们就知道说这个耶利米来去向神来去祷告。
And so Jeremiah prayed to the Lord.
那祷告之后呢，神其实对他的祷告就是有所回应了。
And God had answered his prayers.
就说有回答他的祷告，跟他说一些事情。
And he had responded to his prayers and told him some things.
甚至说到以后这个以色列他们要来去复国。
And it spoke about how the kingdom of Israel will reconcile.
所以我们今天呢，我们就来看这个32章里面的一些内容跟一些教训。
So let us look at some teachings in chapter 32.
我们一开始的时候，我们可以看这个第1节到第5节，这里说到耶利米被困在这个就是这个卫兵的院内了。
And so from verses 1 to 5, it discusses how Jeremiah was in prison in the court.
当时这个其实当时这个耶路撒冷已经被围困，被巴比伦的军队来去围困。
And at the time, Jerusalem was already besieged by Babylon.
但是当时的这个犹大王他来去就是说来去困着这个困境这个耶利米是因为他说了预言，说这个耶路撒冷将会就是说会沦陷了。
So the king of Judah had imprisoned Jeremiah because he prophesied that Judah will also be besieged by Babylon.
告诉他说这个王啊，西底家王啊，既不能够逃脱这个就是不能够逃脱这个巴比伦人的手了。
And Jeremiah said that Zedekiah, king of Judah, will not be able to escape Babylon.
所以当这个这个王啊，这个犹大王西底家听到这个耶利米将来去预言的时候所以他很不开心所以就把他给放到监狱里面去。
And when King Zedekiah heard this prophecy, he was very unhappy and imprisoned Jeremiah.
当然我们知道说为什么这个犹大国他们会灭亡。
And of course, we know why the kingdom of Judah will be defeated.
如果我们有看32章的话，我们知道说从29节到35节其实神回答耶利米的时候，回答耶利米的祷告的时候，有提到说为什么当时这个耶路撒冷就是犹大国将会灭亡。
And if we have read verses 29 to 35, we will know why God wishes to destroy Judah.
因为当时犹大人可以说他们是当时的这些以色列人他们可以说是烧香来去拜这个巴力。
And because the Israelites had provoked God and had worshipped Molech. Baal.
他们那不单只是这样，我们发觉到说当时的这些首领他们也全部都是犯罪来去得罪神。
And so we know the people in high places, the princes, have also sinned against God.
所以神要把这些人交在这个巴比伦的手中。
And so God will give the Israelites away to Babylon.
那我们发觉到说在旧约时代因为我们还没有这个完整的圣经所以旧约时代一般来说都是靠这个来神是靠预言来去给这些先知一些指示来去怎么来去就是说带领这些百姓。
And so we know in the Old Testament they did not have the complete scriptures of the New Testament yet, and the people relied on the prophecies to lead them.
所以很多时候就有这些先知出来去讲神的话来神去感动这先知来去讲神的话。
And so very often the prophets were touched by God to prophesy.
所以耶利米就被神去感动去讲述这些神的话来。
And so Jeremiah was inspired by God to prophesy.
所以我们发觉到在旧约的时候如果没有神的预言的话，你发觉到说当时的百姓并没有我们说一个指引应该怎么做。
And so in the Old Testament we see that if there was no prophecies, then the people did not have any guidance.
我们可以看这个箴言书的29章
And so we can turn to Proverbs chapter 29.
我们看这个箴言29章。
Proverbs chapter 29.
29章我们可以看这个18节。
Verse 18.
29章的18节。
Chapter 29 verse 18.
这里说没有意象或者说没有默示民就放肆为遵守律法的变为有福所以这里讲得很清楚如果没有这个默示的话，民就放肆。
And here it says very clearly that if there's no revelation, then the people is cast off restraint.
所以你发觉到说在旧约时代神是以这种默示或者说预言来去带领当时的百姓。
And so we see in the Old Testament that God uses revelations or prophecies to lead his people.
有一个最好的这个例子就是当时撒母耳的时代
And there is a good example in the time of Samuel.
我们可以看这个撒母耳记上的第3章。
We can look at 1 Samuel chapter 3.
撒母耳记上的第3章。
1 Samuel chapter 3.
撒母耳记上第3章，我们可以看这个第1节
1 Samuel chapter 3 verse 1.
这同时撒母耳在以利面前侍奉神当那些日子神的言语稀少，不常有默示所以这里很清楚的提到说，当时撒母耳时代神的言语稀少，不常有默示。
And here it discusses clearly how in the time of Samuel, the word of the Lord was rare.
所以你发觉到说当时的祭司他们不知道怎么做，他们就乱了他们就来去犯罪，来去得罪神。
And so the priests of the time did not have any revelation, therefore they were misguided.
所以你发觉到以利亚的2个儿子，他们就很丧事。
And so we know the 2 sons of Eli were very sinful.
所以在旧约时代神是以这种默示或者来去这些预言来去就是说来去 来去指示当时的百姓。
And so in the Old Testament, God used revelations or prophecies to lead his people.
但是我们发觉到这样会有一些问题啊。
But we then saw there were some problems with the rise.
为什么会这样有一些问题呢？
Why were there some problems?
我们可以看这个耶利米书的这个第6章哈。
We can turn to Jeremiah chapter 6.
耶利米书的第6章。
Jeremiah chapter 6.
耶利米书的第6章，我们可以看这个13跟14节。
Jeremiah chapter 6 verses 13 and 14.
因为他们从小到大知道的都意味地贪婪，从先知到祭司都行事虚妄14节。
14.
他们清清楚楚的医治我的百姓的损伤，说平安了，平安了，其实没有平安。我们可以看这个第8章。
You can turn to chapter 8.
我们看第8章的这个第10节还有11节。
Chapter 8 verses 10 and 11.
第8章的第10节还有11节。
Chapter 8 verses 10 and 11.
所以我必将他们的妻子给别人，将他们的田地给别人为业，因为他们从小到大知大的都意味地贪婪，从先知到祭司都行事虚谎。他们清清楚楚的医治我的百姓的损伤，说平安了，平安了，其实没有平安。所以从这2节当中我们发觉到一些问题。
And here these two verses reveal some problems.
这里说他们清清楚楚的医治我的百姓，他们这里是指什么？是指谁呢？
And so here it says that they have healed his people who are they.
这里其实就是当时的一些祭司啦，一些先知啦。
And these are speaking of some priests and prophets.
其实当时的这些祭司跟先知他们所说的所谓的平安其实是假的。
And the peace which they spoke of was false.
其实当时的世代是没有平安。
Actually, there was no peace in that
因为
time.
当时他们这些百姓都犯罪得罪神所以是没有平安的。
Because the people have sinned against God, therefore there is no
所以所谓的这些祭司这些先知这些假先知他们就跟当时的百姓说有这个平安了。
And so the prophets of the time had told the people there were peace.
所以这些可以说是一些假先知
And we can call them false prophets.
那所以当时的这些百姓他们就当时的百姓就面对这样的一个问题
And so the people of the time faced these tribulations.
问题就是说他们有这些假的先知，也有真的先知。
And these prophets, the problem was that there were real prophets and false prophets.
那你发觉到这些假先知他们就讲一些所谓的平安的话。
And so the false prophets would speak of words of peace.
讲了平安的话，他们本身就没有得到什么，看起来就没有什么问题
And because they spoke words of peace, it seemed on the appearance they had no
但
problem.
是那些真先知好像以利米他说这个预言说这个国度犹大王将要灭亡犹大国将要灭亡。
The true prophets such as Jeremiah, who spoke of the destruction of Judah,
那你发觉到他就出了问题他本身就有问题
he encountered some difficulties.
他自己就被这个王西底家王放在这个就是下到这个监狱里面去。
And so he was imprisoned by King
那
Zedekiah.
你发觉到说耶利米没有因此而就是说来去改变他的这个所说的预言
However, Prophet Jeremiah did not change his
因
prophecy
为他是一个忠心的一个先知。
because he was a loyal prophet.
我们可以看这个26章耶利米书的26章。
We can turn to Jeremiah chapter 26.
耶利米书的26章我们看这个第2节
Jeremiah chapter 26 verse 2.
耶利米书26章的第2节。
Jeremiah chapter 26 verse 2.
神如此说，你站在神的殿内，对犹大诚意的人就是到神殿来礼拜的，说我所吩咐你的一切话，一字不可删减。所以你发觉到当时的耶利米他有这样的一种忠心
And so Jeremiah was very loyal.
因为神跟他说，我吩咐你的一切话，你一字不可以删减。
Because the Lord had told him, of all the words which I speak, you must speak them.
所以你发觉到说，他就很忠心的把神的话说出来。
And he was very loyal and had spoken all of these
虽
words.
然那些这个王他不想听，而不喜欢听。
And although the kings did not want to hear these words,
甚至百姓也不喜欢他。
and the people did not like him,
他自己面对这样的问题，这样的挑战。
he had still faced these challenges
但是
alone.
你发觉到他是一个忠心的这个先知，他把神的话一字不散的把它讲出来。
But he was a very loyal prophet and has spoken the words of the Lord.
所以今天我们作为神的这个在教会里面作为神的工人，我们也是一样，应该要有这样的一种态度。
And so today, as we are workers of Christ in the church, we must also have this attitude.
我们要忠心的把神的话把它很清楚的讲出来。
We must be loyal to God and speak the words of Christ.
我们不是讲一些话来去讨人的喜欢人喜欢听而已，我们才去讲。
We must not speak some words only to gain the favor of others.
我们讲的是神的话。
But the words we speak are those of God.
今天我们就以圣经来为一个标准来去把神的话很清楚的把它讲出来。
And today, let us use the words of the Bible as a standard and a guide for what we speak to others.
其实对耶利米来说，他很容易的来去说一些能够得到当时百姓或者君王的喜悦的话。
And of course, Prophet Jeremiah could have said some words that gained the favors of others.
但是他没有这样做。
But he did not do so.
所以今天我们所学习到的就是我们在神的面前，在服事当中我们是带着一个忠心的态度来去服事神。
And so we can learn that today when we serve God in church, we must have this loyal attitude.
那接下来从第6节到第这个15节呢，我们发觉到就是说这个神跟耶利米说，他的这个堂兄弟要把一块地来去卖给他。
And so verses 6 to 15, it discusses how there is a field his uncle wishes to sell him.
所以你会发觉到说耶利米就在那里等了，看他这个堂兄弟会来找他吗
？Then Jeremiah waited, and then his uncle's son came to him.
所以当他的这个堂兄弟来的时候，他就知道说神的这个预言是真实的，真的要他来去买地。
And so when his uncle's son came to him, he said the prophecy of the Lord is true.
所以他就把所有的这些手续给他做好了。
And so he completed the process.
比如说第10节
For example, verse 10.
他在这个契上画押对契封面，又请见证人来，并用天平将银子给了他，所以他就把这个整个买地的过程把它给买过来。
Verse 10 says he signed the deed and sealed it, took witnesses, and weighed the money on the scale. So he completed this process of buying the field.
所以这个地是在这个便雅悯的境内了。
And so this field was, in verse 8, it says this field was part of the tribe of Benjamin.
所以要他来去把这个地把它买过来。
And so he wanted him to buy the field.
其实如果我们看这个神的吩咐的话。
And if we look at the providence of the Lord,
神怎么来去吩咐
how did the Lord instruct?
你发觉到说根据当时摩西的那个时代，你发觉到说其实这个我们说亲戚之间一般来说是不需要来去买地的。
And according to the law of Moses, it says that between kinsmen, there is no need to buy the field.
我们可以看这个民数记
And we can turn to Numbers.
我们看民数记的这个27章。
Let us turn to the book of Numbers, chapter 27.
民数记的27章。
Numbers, chapter 27.
我们看这个第8节到11节就。
Let us read verses 8 to 11.
我们看民数记的27章，我们看第8节到11节。
Numbers chapter 27 verses 8 to 11.
我也要晓谕以色列人说，人若死了没有儿子就要把他的产业归给他的儿女。他若没有儿女，就要把他的产业归给他弟兄。他若没有弟兄，就要把他的产业归给他父亲的弟兄。11节。
11.
他父亲若没有弟兄，就要把他的产业归他其中最近的亲属，他便要得为业。这要做以色列的律例典章，是照神吩咐摩西的。所以从在摩西的时代的时候，神晓谕摩西要这样来去做。
And so from the time of Moses, God had instructed Moses to do so.
但是在这个时代，但是在耶利米的这个时候呢，他的这个叔叔要他来去买一块地，买他叔叔的地
But in the time of Jeremiah, his uncle wished for him to buy the land.
其实对耶利米来说，他是不需要也没有这个必要来去买这个地。
And in fact, Jeremiah did not have the need to buy the field.
因为根据摩西的律法的话，根据神吩咐摩西的话， 如果叔叔不在，就给他的儿子，他是没有必要来去买这块地。
And because according to the law of Moses, if his uncle was no longer there, his uncle would have given the field to his son.
那对他来说啊，是好像是一个矛盾啊，有一个矛盾。
And so for him, it seemed like an inconvenience.
就是it's a contradiction.
It seemed like a contradiction.
矛盾啊，为什么？好像跟神吩咐摩西，跟现在要他来做这件事情是有所冲突啊。
And because it was contrary to the law of Moses, what his uncle wished for him to do.
所以这是第一个矛盾。
So this is the first
其实
contradiction.
在他的祷告当中他提到第二个矛盾。
In fact, in his prayer, he mentioned a second contradiction.
我们跳到这个25节我们看回32章的25节。
So let us turn back to chapter 32, verse 25.
这里说主神啊，你对我说啊，要用银子为自己买那块地啊，又请见证人。其实这城已经交在加勒底人的手中了。这是第二个的矛盾。
Verse 25 talks of a second contradiction.
这个矛盾是什么呢？就是说，其实当时耶路撒冷这个犹大这个地方已经要沦陷了嘛，就要被我们说被这个巴比伦来去占领了。
And in fact, at the time, the land of Judah was in fact being taken over by Babylon.
快要被拿过来。
It was on the verge of becoming the Chaldeans.
那我为什么还要去买地呢？
Yet why do I need to buy this land?
买了地不是好像给人家抢过去吗？就给别人嘛。
Am I not buying this land to gift someone else?
所以看起来我现在买这个地是好像是多此一举，是多余的事情啊。
And it seemed like something extra he was doing.
这个是不需要去做了。
It was unnecessary.
买了之后就看起来对我没有什么益处啊。
It seemed like it was not possible for him to buy it.
其实他叔叔叫他买这块地的时候，就有两个的矛盾。
And so when his uncle asked for him to buy the land, there were these two contradictions.
第一看起来是跟神吩咐摩西的时候有所冲突。第二这个地方都已经要沦陷了，就要被占领了，我还买来干嘛？
And so firstly, it was contrary to the law of Moses, and secondly, the land was on the verge of being besieged.
其实神要他买这块地其实要告诉他一件事情。
Yet when the Lord wished for him to buy this land, he was telling him
其实
something.
要告诉他神接下来以后要做的工作是什么。
He wanted to indicate the work which he wished for him to do in the
因
future.
为神自己本身要做的工作是什么？
It was an indication of what the Lord will do.
要让耶利米来去明白为什么要他这样来做，让他知道说以后神要怎么对这些神的百姓。
He wanted Jeremiah to understand how the Lord will treat his people.
其实神要告诉他说虽然这个地方之后要被人家来去占领要荒凉了。
And in fact, the Lord wished to tell Jeremiah that the land will be overtaken.
但之后呢，神会把他们招回来继续的在这个地方来去耕种，来去买地。
Yet he will bring the people back.
就是说神会把这些百姓把他给赎回来。
It means the Lord will save his people.
所以要耶利米来去明白到这样的一件事情。
And he wanted Jeremiah to understand this.
我们可以看这个第8节
We can look at verse 8.
我叔叔的儿子哈拿尼果然照神的话来到护卫兵的院内对我说，我在便雅悯境内亚拿处的那块地，求你买了，因为你买来是合乎承受之理，是你当赎的，因你为自己买来吧。我耶利米就知道这是神说的话。我们再看这个第15节
Verse 15.
因为万军之神以色列的神如此说将来在这地必有人再买房屋、田地和葡萄园。所以从这2节很神要告诉这个耶利米。
And so from these two verses, the Lord wished to tell Jeremiah
告诉他说神以后要把这些以色列的百姓要把他们赎回来。
that the Lord will save the people and return them.
所以15节那里告诉我们会有人再一次会有这百姓再一次在这个田地来去买卖，来去种葡萄。
And so verse 15 says, once again there will be houses and fields and vineyards.
但是对这个耶利米来说当时因为他所看到的就是神要这个犹大地来去灭亡了。
However, at the time Jeremiah saw that the land was going to be destroyed.
虽然神这样跟他说对我来说他是不能够完全的明白，或者说完全的能够来去接受。
And so although God has told him such a revelation, it was hard for him to understand or even accept it.
因为他所看到的就是现在的百姓将要灭亡。
Because what he saw before him was the kingdom and the people being destroyed.
所以我们发觉到这32章16节之后，神跟他说了这些话之后，他就向神来去祷告。
And so we see past verse 16, he prayed to God.
他这样来去祷告，来去向神来去祈求了。
And so he prayed towards God.
所以今天我想我们也是一样
So today we should be the same.
在我们的生活当中有时候我们可能碰到一些问题，我们可能不太明白或者不太了解的。
In our lives, when we encounter some difficulties, we may not understand it.
可能我们唯一的方法就是跪下来去向神来去祷告。
And so our only way is to kneel and pray to God.
可能当时我们看不到清楚，神要我们明白的，要我们就是神的旨意在我们身上是什么，我们可能不知道。
And we may not know what God's will is for us at the time.
但是我们现在这样的一种困境当中。
But under such circumstances,
那我们怎么办呢？
what should we do?
我们只好跪下来去向神祷告。
We must kneel and pray to God.
其实这是很真实我们来去就是说，在我们信仰生活当中来表现出我们对神的一种信靠，一种忍耐等候。
And this is a very truthful way for us to wait on God.
甚至在我们所碰到的事情上，我们来去交托给神。
It is for us to give all things to God.
或者我们怎么来去我们来去把我们的难题让神来帮我们解决。
And it is for us to give God our difficulties to resolve.
但是除了这些之外呢
？And beside this,
那我们发觉到说耶利米的祷告他所提到的一些事情是值得我们来去学习的。
And Jeremiah had mentioned some things that is worthy for us to learn from.
他在祷告当中他提到神的这个，比如说他提到神的这个大能。
And within his prayer, he mentioned the almighty power of God.
我们比如说我们看这个32章的第17节
And we can look at chapter 32, verse 17.
他说：“主神你曾用大能的手伸出来的膀臂创造天地在你没有难成的事。”这是耶利米对神的一种完全的相信。
And here shows the complete trust Jeremiah has for
不单
God.
只是这样，18节他说你施恩施慈爱以千万人又将父亲的罪孽报应在他后世子孙的怀中，是至大全能神万军之神是你的名所以从这里我们发觉到说，他又能够看到神的这个一方面神的慈爱，也看到神一方面的公义。
And in verse 18, it shows that Jeremiah could see the loving kindness of God, yet also the justice as well.
20节他就提到说神的大能手。
And verse 20, it discusses the almighty hand of
所以
God.
从他的祷告当中我们发觉到他明白到神的旨意，他看得到神的作为。
And through his prayer, we can see that he understood the instructions and will of God.
甚至从他的祷告当中他所提到的事情发觉到说，他看到神的信实。
And in his prayer, we can see Jeremiah understood the nature of God.
比如说对这些神的百姓的这种信实，把他们从这个埃及地带出来，进入到这个牛奶与蜜之地。
And he can see the nature of God and the reason why he brought the Israelites out of Egypt into a land full of milk and honey.
所以在我们祷告当中我们要学习耶利米的这样一种的心态
And so through his prayer, we can learn the attitude of
首先
Jeremiah.
我们要认识到神是大能的。
Firstly, we must understand God is almighty.
神是慈爱的。
He is loving.
不但慈爱，在慈爱当中有他的公义。
And not only is he loving, yet in his loving kindness, he has his justice.
他也有他的信实，他所说的他必定成就。
And God is loyal. Whatever he says, it will come to be.
所以他耶利米就带着这样的心情来去向神来去祷告。
And so Jeremiah prayed with such an attitude.
所以今天我们也应该是这样
So today it should be the same
简
for
单
us.
来说，耶利米是完全相信神所说的一切的话。
Simply said, Jeremiah believed the Lord 100%.
Whatever the Lord says.
Whatever the Lord says, he believes.
这是很重要的一件事情。
And this is very
你
important.
可以发觉到耶利米的那种心态，他是这样的哈。
And so we can understand the attitude of Jeremiah.
我们可以看这个耶利米书的15章。
Let us turn to Jeremiah chapter 15.
耶利米书的15章，我们可以看这个16节。
Jeremiah chapter 15 verse 16.
耶利米书15章，我们看16节。
Jeremiah chapter 15 verse 16.
这里说神万军之神我得着你的言语，就当食物吃了。你的言语是我心中的欢喜快乐。所以因我是称为你名下的人所以耶利米他有这样的一个认识
And so in this verse we see Jeremiah had this understanding.
因为他是属神的。
Because he belonged to God.
所以神的话对他来说就好像一种食物这样，把他给吃下去了。
And so the words of God were like nutrients for him to eat.
不单只是这样，使到他言语在他神的言语在他心中成为一种非常快乐的一件事情。
And so the word of God was a joy to his heart.
所以他把神的话当成他的生活的一个重要的一个，可以说一个重要的一个部分
And the words of God was very important to him.
所以今天我们也应该也是这样
Today it should be the same for us.
神的话应该成为我们生活的重要的一个部分。
The words of God should be an important part of our life.
虽然生活上可能碰到一些挑战、一些问题
Although we may encounter some challenges in
但
our
是我
life,
们对神的话，我们是完全的相信，完全的顺服。
but we need to believe and follow the words of
因为
God.
我们的信仰生活不是靠我们说看得到的食物来去生存的，是靠神的话来去存活的。
Because our lives is not sustained by the food we eat, yet by the words of Christ.
所以摩西对当时的百姓他这样说
And so Moses told the people.
我们看申命记的这个第8章。
Let us turn to Deuteronomy chapter 8.
申命记的第8章。
Deuteronomy chapter 8.
申命记的第8章我们看这个第3节。
Deuteronomy chapter 8 verse 3.
申命记的第8章，我们看第3节。
Deuteronomy chapter 8 verse 3.
他苦练你，也任你饥渴，将你和你列祖所不认识的玛瑙赐给你吃，使你知道人活着不是单靠食物，乃是靠神的口里所出的一切的话。所以今天我们的信仰生活就是这样。
And so today our life of faith is as such.
是凭着神口里所出的话来去做我们的生活。
We are sustaining our lives by the words of God.
所以当以色列人在旷野的时候，神就是这样吩咐这玛瑙就降下来。
And when the Israelites were in the wilderness, God had proclaimed for manna to come, and manna
其
came.
实就是要让他们明白，当时的百姓明白说，他们活着不是单靠食物，而是靠神口里的话。
It is so that people can understand that they sustain their life not by food, yet by the words of
所以今
God.
天我们的信仰生活就是这样
So today our life of faith is as such.
所以你发觉到耶利米他也是这样来去认识到神来去这样来去就是说来去信靠神
And so Jeremiah trusted God in this way.
我们看回这个耶利米书的32章。
Let us turn back to Jeremiah chapter 32.
他向神来去祷告之后神其实就回应他了。
And after he prayed to God, God answered him.
比如说他在这个他在17节他提到神的大能之后。
In verse 17 it discussed the great power of God.
所以在27节的时候神就回应他了。
And so in verse 27 God responded to him.
神说我是神是凡有血气者的神岂有我难成的事。所以之后呢他就跟他来去告诉他他神的作为是什么。
And so God explained what his actions were.
其实从这个29节之后呢，对，其实之后呢一直讲到这个从这个28节之后一直到这个35节神就提到当时百姓的这个罪恶。
And so from verses 28 to 35 God told Jeremiah of the people's sin.
为什么神要灭绝这个犹大国？
And why did God want to destroy the kingdom of
就
Judah?
告诉我们从这几节当中就告诉我们那些百姓的，因为主要的原因就是百姓的罪恶。
And the main reason for destruction was the sin of the people.
比如说29节
For example, verse 29.
攻城的加勒底人必来放火焚烧这城和其中的房屋，在这房屋上 人曾向巴力烧香，向别神交奠，惹我发怒。所以从这种事情上，从这里我们知道说，当时的百姓呢，他们就来去拜巴力啊。
And so these verses tell us the people were worshiping Baal.
不单只是这样，当时的所谓的这些首领，他们也是这样来去，就是说来去犯罪，来去得罪神啊。
And the leaders of the people were also sinning against
32
God.
节我们可以看得到。
Verse 32 tells us.
是因以色列和犹大人一切的罪、一切的邪恶，就是他们和他们的君王、首领、祭司、先知，并犹大的众人呢，以及耶路撒冷的居民所行的，惹我发怒。所以神告诉耶利米啊，当时百姓的情况。
And so God told Jeremiah the situation of the people.
是说耶利米是知道的啦。
In fact, Jeremiah knew it.
在早之前已经不断的来去告诉当时的百姓。
He had unceasingly told the people.
神要他来去告诉百姓他们的犯错他们所做的事情。
God had wanted him to tell the people that they are sinning.
于是我在想，这耶利米当时他处在一个非常困难的一种情况当中。
And I thought Jeremiah was often in a difficult situation.
为什么当时的百姓跟这些带领的人他们都陷在罪中
And the people that he was leading was in sin.
他要来去传讲这种信息。
And he had to prophesy these things.
你想一下，当时他的心情是怎么样？
We must wonder what his mood was.
其实他是不好受的。
I'm sure he was in a hard place.
如果他很好受的话，如果他很轻松的话，很容易的来去做的话，就没有耶利米哀歌了。
And I'm sure if it was an easy task, there would be no book of Lamentations.
所以其实对他来说，他当时的心情去跟这些百姓说，是应该是非常的痛苦。
And I'm sure he told the people with a heavy heart.
因为他自己本身也陷在当中
And because he was also living in that era.
所以他也在当中去传讲神的话。
And so in that situation, he was prophesying.
而且这些百姓君王、这祭司都没有悔改。
And the people, the priests, did not repent.
他们是心里刚硬的。
They were hard in their hearts.
没有悔改，那种心情是不好受的是非常痛苦的。
And so they would not repent. It was very difficult.
所以他们当时就陷在这个罪中
And so they were steeped in sin.
所以神就这样跟他回答，就跟他这样说，这事情一定会实现的就是说犹大地一定会灭亡。
And so God told Jeremiah that Judah will be destroyed.
虽然是这样
Although it is so,
那你发觉到神是非常的慈爱。
we know God is very loving.
如果我们从这个36节读到最后的话，
And if we read from verses 36 to the end,
你发觉到神要把他们给招回来
we see that God will bring back the people.
我们再看这个36节
Let's read verse 36.
现在轮到这城就是你们所说已经因刀剑、饥荒、瘟疫交在巴比伦王手中的神，以色列的神如此说。37节。
37.
我在怒气、愤怒、大恼恨中将以色列人赶到各国，日后我必从那里将他们招出来，领他们回到土地，使他们安然居住。所以从这里，虽然神把他们赶出去
So although God had chased them out,
那神跟耶利米说，再一次跟他说，以后我还会叫他们回来，神会叫他们招他们回来。
God told Jeremiah that he will bring them back.
就是这神也是对耶利米的一种，就是说神说这是我的应许，我会把他们招回来。
And so God told Jeremiah, this is my promise, I will bring them back.
所以你发觉到神他非常的慈爱。
So we see God is very loving.
虽然这些百姓他们犯罪
So although the people sinned,
陷在罪中
and they were steeped in sin,
他们不认神他们去拜别的神。
they did not recognize God and they were worshiping
但
idols.
是神很愿意的，还是愿意的以后要把他们给招回来。
Yet God was willing to bring them back.
不单只把他们给招回来。
And not only was he going to bring them back,
你发觉到说神还要在他们身上来去做一些事情
we see that God wanted to do some things on
招回来还是不够。
It is not enough he brings them back.
神的慈爱不单只是说再招回来而已。
His love does not end only to bring them back.
你发觉到他们在他身上，他们还要做一些事情。
Yet God wished to do something with them.
在他们身上做什么事情呢？
And what was this
我们
thing?
看这个38节到41节。
Let us look at verses 38 to 41.
这里说他们要做我的子民啊，我要做他们的神，我要使他们彼此同心同道，好叫他们永远敬畏我，使他们和他们的后世的子孙得福，又要与他们立永远的约，必随着他们施恩，并不离开他们且使他们有敬畏我的心，不离开我。41节。
41.
我必欢喜施恩与他们，要尽心尽意诚诚实实将他们栽于此地。如果我们看这个36节至41节，我们看得到神的慈爱他的工作。
And so from verses 36 to 41, we see God's love and the work he wished to
首
do.
先神要好像跟他们怎么说，要让他们再一次的来作为他的子民。
And he wishes them once again to be his people.
让他们彼此之间来去同心同道。
And for them to be in one heart and to be doing his work.
来去永远的来去敬畏神。
And forever for them to worship him.
重新的跟他们立约。
And so to reconnect his covenant with
给
them.
他们有一个敬畏神的心。
And so that he will give them a heart of reverence.
这是神说我会41节他这样说，我会施恩与他们，我要尽心尽意的诚诚实实的将他们栽于此地。
In verse 41 it says he will plant them in the land with all his heart and all his
就是
soul.
说神很全心全意的完全的来去栽种他们，来去重新的来去再一次的让他们重新开始。
Which is to say God will give them a new beginning.
这是神在他们身上要种的工作。
And this is what God will do to his
所以我们
people.
所看到的就是神的慈爱。
And so what we see is the love of God.
就好像神跟这个以西结所说的话差不多一样。
It is like what God has told Ezekiel.
我们看这个以西结书36章。
Let us turn to Ezekiel chapter 36.
以西结书36章我们看这个26节跟27节。
Ezekiel chapter 36 verses 26 and 27.
这里说我要赐给他们一个新心，将心灵放在他们里面，又从你们的肉体中除掉死心，赐给你们的肉心。27节。
27.
我必将我的灵放在你们里面，使你们顺从我的律例，谨守遵行我的典章。这是神要在百姓的身上所种的工。
And this is the work which God wished to have on his people.
今天不是这样吗？
Today is it not so?
今天神不是在我们身上做这样的工作吗？
Has God not done his work on us?
他真的把这个圣灵赐在我们的身上。
He has indeed given us his Holy Spirit.
神完全的把这个全心全意的来去施恩，来去在我们身上来去做工。
God has put on us his whole heart and his whole spirit to work
那
on
我
us.
们的反应应该是怎么样的呢？
And what should our reactions be?
我们的反应就是要来去顺从。
And we need to submit.
我们要来去配合神的这个工作。
We must submit and be according to God's word.
因为神已经做了他要做的事情。
Because God has already done his
而
part.
且他做这件事情，他是全心全意的来去尽心尽意的来去做。
And when he does this, he has done it with all his heart and his soul.
那我们今天要怎么样来去反应呢？
And so today, how should we respond?
这是一个很重要的一个问题我们要问我们自己。
This is an important question we must ask ourselves.
主耶稣亲自神道成肉身来到世界，为我们死在十字架上。
The Lord has become flesh and blood to die on the cross for us.
流出他的宝血。
He has bled his precious
一切
blood.
相信的人经过他宝血洗之后，罪就赦免了。
And so those who believe, who has washed in his blood, have
不
received
但是
repentance,
这样还赐下一个圣灵给我们呢。
have received forgiveness, and we have received his Holy
就
Spirit.
是他亲自住在我们的内心里面。
And he lives within our hearts.
他把他所有能够做的事情已经做了。
And so what he can do, he has done.
今天这个问题接下来就我们要回答的问题。
And the next part is for us to do.
我们的反应是如何？
And how is our response?
我们是不是一个顺从的人呢？
Are we someone who submits?
我们是不是一个配合神工作的人，来去配合他？
Are we someone who will be flexible to his calling?
我们是不是存着一个敬畏的心来到神的面前？
Are we coming before him with a reverent
因为
heart?
他已经尽心尽意的栽种了我们了。
And because he has saved us with all his heart
这
and
些
soul,
工作他已经做了。
and these works he has done.
那问题是我们怎么样呢？
And so how will we respond?
所以我们发觉到在31章的时候，他跟耶利米这样说哈。
And so in chapter 31, he tells Jeremiah.
我们看这个31章。
Let us turn to Jeremiah chapter 31.
我们看这个28节。
Verse 28.
我先前怎么留意将他们扒出拆毁，毁坏、倾覆、苦害，也必照样留意将他们建立，栽种，这是神说的。所以之前神怎么对他们，把他们，就是说简单来说，把他们拆毁扒掉，那神也怎么来去建造，来去栽种他们。
And so in the same way which God had destroyed them, God will replenish them.
所以就是神的工作神在我们身上，在百姓的身上所做的工作。
And so this is the work which God has done on his people.
今天神也在我们身上做了这样的工作。
And today God is the same on us.
尤其是栽种耕种来栽种我们。
Especially to replant us.
在这地就是属神的地方来去栽种我们。
In the land that belongs to God, he has planted us there.
重点是我们就是遵守神诫命的人。
And so the point is, are we people who will respond to his calling?
所以我们要顺服圣灵的带领。
And so we must submit to the calling of the Spirit.
我们要顺服神的教训，神的道真理。
We must submit to the truth of Christ.
我们要行在这个圣灵当中。
And we must walk with the Spirit.
过这一个敬畏神的生活。
So we can live a life full of reverence.
这样的话，神的这个栽种的工作这个复兴的工作才没有，我们说没有白费。
And so the work of the Lord, which has planted us, will not be in vain.
所以这个问题现在是在我们的身上。
And so this question is for us to respond to.
我们是怎么做的？
How
我们
will
应
we
该怎么
respond?
反应
And how should we react?
感谢神，我们查经到这里。
And thank God this is the end of our Bible
我
study.
们一起祷告。
Let us pray together.
奉神是圣灵祷告。Thank you.